So Aljamain Sterling versus TJ Dillashaw is in the works, and Aljo came out and denied it, and Zabit Magomedsharipov has officially retired from MMA for good. We kind of knew about this a year ago, however now I guess it's official and finalized. I'm going to break down both of these stories in today's MMA news reaction video, starting with Aljamain Sterling versus TJ Dillashaw, a huge matchup in the bantamweight division for the World Championship. Former champion TJ Dillashaw coming off of a win over Corey Sandhagen. I thought he won it when I first watched it, but then when I watched it back afterwards, I feel like I gave the 5th round to Corey Sandhagen, so a win over Corey Sandhagen, but even still, after so long off, it's respectable to even make it close against Corey Sandhagen, so he's got a title shot in the bantamweight division. They're trying to finalize it as per MMA Junkie, so it's a pretty official news source. However, I guess before we get into breaking it down, let's break down Aljamain Sterling saying this isn't true. He said, "We're not fighting," but you guys literally said this about the last 6 guys that I fought in response to a guy saying that TJ is going to make easy work of Aljo. But, you know, people that are picking against you, sure they're going to pick against you because they're picking against you. You know what I'm saying? So, not everyone's saying this because you're not a massive underdog other than in your last matchup, really. I mean, you were near evens with Jan in the first fight. So, Aljo, you know, playing a victim, but all good. I don't understand why he said we're not fighting. The only other outcome is Cejudo. And the UFC has already said that Cejudo's not going to get a title shot when he comes back. Aldo is in the works and near finalized to fight Merab Dvalishvili. Marlon Vera is fighting Dominic Cruz. So unless it's a Corey Sandhagen rematch or a trilogy with Piotr Jan, it's Cejudo or Dillashaw. And the news came out that the UFC are near to finalizing a fight with TJ Dillashaw. So why is Aljo saying they're not fighting? Like, could you just shut up and just accept the... Can we just get things going? I know people don't want Dillashaw to fight for a belt, but can we just get it going? And get these fights made and get them out the way and then make way for the new contenders, because we got bantamweight contenders fighting the who's who on the come-up. Let's just get these title fights out the way before someone gets injured again, and then there's an interim belt, and then there's this and that. Like, if they're both healthy, get it going. I understand. It's him or Cejudo. And I know that Aljo wants to fight Cejudo, but the UFC has already said that they're not going to let Cejudo fight for a belt when he comes back. That's not their plan. They want him to fight a contender. So I could see them doing Cejudo versus Piotr Jan, seeing as Aldo, Merab, Marlon Vera, and Dominic Cruz are now all booked up. I could see them doing a Cejudo versus Jan in Abu Dhabi in October on the pay-per-view main card. For a title shot, maybe, if Cejudo wins. If Jan wins, they might give it to the winner of Aldo versus Merab, or... Bantamweight's such a mess with what they've done with the matchups. It really is. They should have done, in my opinion, Aldo versus Cruz, because that way both of them have earned a title shot if they win. Dillashaw for the belt, Jan versus Vera. Like, they've really messed up the matchmaking, and then Merab versus Corey Sandhagen. They really messed up the matchmaking in the bantamweight division, and now Aljo's denying MMA Junkie's news that it's close to being finalized. I guess Aljo is denying that it's close to being finalized, or just saying that they're not fighting yet because he hasn't actually finalized it yet and just trying to be difficult about it. But can we just stop these stupid games and just get the title shot done and out the way? I know people don't want Dillashaw to get a title shot, but Aldo's fighting, Merab's fighting, Marlon Vera's fighting, Piotr Jan's not going to get a trilogy, so it's Cejudo coming back for a belt, which the UFC don't really want, because he's just going to dip out if he wins anyway, so he's going to have to fight a contender first. It's Dillashaw. Or Sandhagen. So it's Dillashaw, because you beat Sandhagen in 1 round. Let's just stop these stupid games. Like, oh, I'm not actually fighting him. Like, Aljo versus Dillashaw. Fight the guy. He's the highest ranked contender that's coming off a win. It's an official win on paper, although you might disagree with the decision. Let's just stop these silly games of, I'm not actually fighting him, though. Like, just fuck off and fight Dillashaw. Get it out of the way. Next pay-per-view card that hasn't really got anything on there, UFC 279. The main event is going to be Jon Jones versus Stipe Miocic, I do believe. And if you're Aljo and you're getting pay-per-view shares now after defending your belt and becoming a legitimate champion, why wouldn't you want to be on the undercard of Jones versus Miocic? Why would you want to wait for Cejudo to go through the 6 months of USADA testing so he can come back in maybe November or December? Let's get this fight made, make it happen. Originally, I was leaning towards Dillashaw, but I'm kind of not minding the idea of an Aljamain Sterling win. I know Dillashaw's really good on the feet, and I've got something in my eye that's now going to bug me for the rest of this video, which is amazing. But I'm now leaning towards Aljo winning because he's a bit underrated, Aljamain Sterling. And Dillashaw, again, now has been out for a very long time. And Aljo, of course, he did get a little bit beaten up by Petr Yan, but he did some beating himself. You know what I'm saying? That was a very close fight that he came out the winner of by taking the back and stuff like that. And Dillashaw is not the biggest guy at bantamweight, and Aljo is massive for a bantamweight. He's a giant guy for the division, huge for the division. I think Aldo wouldn't even look small next to him. So I feel like Aljamain Sterling could crack Dillashaw and take advantage and take the back in certain moments. Now, I do trust TJ Dillashaw to be able to survive those moments, but it's risky with Dillashaw's chin. That's the thing. So I'd like to see what the odds are for that, in all honesty. I'll have to look up the odds right now. I think it's a bit of a 50-50 matchup between the two of them. At first, I was really thinking, you know, Dillashaw's got a really good style to beat Aljo, but Aljo's extremely underrated, you know? He's extremely underrated. Aljo versus Dillashaw odds. Are there some odds out there right now? There are not any odds out there right now. Maybe there are, and you can let me know in the comments down below, but I don't know. I feel like if anyone's disrespected by the odds, like if Aljo's an underdog, I'm 100% taking it, but if they just disrespect TJ Dillashaw and put him as like a plus 200 because they don't like him, I could maybe see Dillashaw getting an upset, who knows. But it's going to be interesting. This is a great fight for Aljo, in my opinion, because it really is saying something that Dillashaw can make Aljo become more likable. Like someone in the comments here of MMA Island's page, he said, Kyle likes Blade. He said, Aljo is becoming more and more likable. He's not. Nothing's changed in the character of Aljo and the personality of Aljo whatsoever. He just beat Petr Yan, so now conveniently people like his personality. Nothing about his personality changed whatsoever. At all. He just won a fight. So now conveniently, you know what? I actually don't mind him anymore. It's like people hate McGregor when he loses. Same personality. But when he wins, it's all good and they love him. It's just how it goes in the fight game. Honestly, I'm starting to root for Aljo. This is why I want to tell you the Dillashaw matchup is perfect. Aljo is so unlike... I get more views than Aljo on YouTube. That's how unpromotable he is as a champion. But Dillashaw is so hated that Aljo's going to get cheered. Listen to the words I'm saying right now. Aljamain Sterling might get cheered on a walkout at the weigh-ins. Aljamain Sterling might get cheers. I'm actually leaning towards Aljo in the build-up, in all honesty. I really am. Dillashaw's just getting older and older. Wouldn't be surprised if he picks up an injury. Aljo's in his prime. He's still going to be making improvements. I reckon I'm leaning towards Aljo. I was originally leaning towards Dillashaw, but I don't mind Aljo's chances now, man. He's a big guy for bantamweight. He takes the back well. He's got some power. I think he could keep TJ honest, but I guess we'll see how the fight goes. Moving on to another matchup, or not another matchup, but another piece of news, which is Zabit Magomedsharipov officially retiring from MMA. And this is the interesting part to me. Is it sad? Yes. Would I have liked to have seen Zabit fight for a belt and like really see if he could have been something in the UFC? Yes, I really would have. But I don't like the comments now. Okay? 45ers can breathe now. You know who can't breathe? 45ers can finally breathe now that Zabit's retired. You know who can't breathe? Zabit after 10 minutes of a fight. He can't breathe. Completely gassed out. He was supposed to have a main event against Calvin Kattar for 5 rounds. He said no, only if it's a 3-rounder will I take that main event. I feel like people are now going to say, oh, now that he's not going to fight and they'll never know. People are saying, like, this might go down as the biggest what if in MMA history. Featherweights right now, Charles Jourdain, a featherweight himself, dancing and partying, all those emojis and stuff like that. Like, it's so silly to me. I feel as though his conditioning just wasn't there for 5-rounders, and that's why he tried to have surgery to improve it. But I think if he ever went 5 rounds, he didn't have much finishing ability. Like, yeah, this comment says it, Gavin Stagner. I don't know why people call him what if. Everyone knows with that cardio, he never would have got too much farther. True. I do agree with that comment right there. Like, people are going to talk about what if, and this guy could have been a GOAT of the sport, and we just didn't even realize it. He didn't really have much finishing ability unless you were Brandon Davis. You know what I mean? Or maybe Shaman Moraes. So any top-level guy, he couldn't really finish. And featherweight's a tough division to get finishes in anyway. And all of the top guys weaponize cardio. Yair Rodriguez, Brian Ortega. Now, Rodriguez might have got exposed on the ground, who knows, but Ortega wouldn't have. And he would have had conditioning to weaponize and pace to put on Zabit in those later rounds. Same thing with Holloway. Same thing with Alexander Volkanovski. If Keita had an extra round 4 even, he probably would have finished Zabit in their matchup as well. Like, listen, I'm all on board to be upset about him retiring, but one of the biggest what-ifs. This guy could have been a future GOAT. Man, it's so sad because I really saw this guy becoming a 145 and maybe 155 pound champ. Like, ease up a little bit, had no finishing ability. And it's sad to see him go, but I really don't believe he would have been a dominant champ. I think he was literally on the cusp of being exposed for his cardio. But all good. I mean, naturally, you're going to get tired if you throw spinning kicks and that, like, quite often. I mean, Yair Rodriguez has started to dial back his kicks. I mean, remember, Yair Rodriguez showed massively improved cardio against Holloway because maybe he was on EPO, I don't know. Who knows with those 2 years off. But he was landing calf kicks and body kicks and good punch combinations. And before in Yair Rodriguez's career, he used to gas out a little bit because he was throwing wheel kicks and jumping round kicks and like spinning, rolling thunder kicks. I don't even know how to explain some of the kicks that he was going for. And then he stopped doing all of that and he had better cardio. So maybe a more technical and fundamental and basic version of Zabit could have became something. But in my opinion, he retired just before he got exposed for his cardio and had to go 5 rounds at featherweight. But really good. Not really good. Really bad news. Zabit would have been a great name. I mean, it would have been a great time to have Zabit in the division again when Volkanovski was looking at fighting the Korean Zombie, because that was a complete mismatch. You know what I mean? Like, Korean Zombie arguably hadn't earned a title shot. So that would have been a perfect time for Zabit to come back in and be that guy to fight Volk in place of Holloway. I think that would have been perfect. But I reckon Volk would have finished him in those later rounds. His cardio just wasn't all there. My opinion. But still, amazing career that he had. The Weasel and all the other guys can start saying, like, this guy could have been a GOAT. This guy could have been a GOAT, guys. You know what I mean? Like, I can hear it already. So I just don't think he would have made it with a cardio. But it's a shame. But he's going to be a doctor, so he'll probably make more fucking money. No doubt, in all honesty. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. It's a sad day for MMA to see Zabit officially retire, but I kind of knew about this 2 years ago. So I don't know why the news is coming out now. Via MMA Fighting, he's officially retired, but didn't we get this news 2 years ago? I don't know. It's weird that it's making the rounds now. Maybe Zabit did an interview and just said, like, no, brother, no come back, brother. I can't believe in third round, brother. You know this. Maybe. Who knows? Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Click that button up there. Toodle pip. I'll see you later. Goodbye. Thank you.